Welcome to my very first ever series called Breaking Down the Bar. In this series, I take a very commercial candy bar, chocolate bar, whatever you want to call it, and run through the ingredients of what they do from a manufacturer's perspective, and then we try and recreate it just with better ingredients. So first up, Feastables. I'm sure you guys know about Feastables or MrBeast. From what I understand, they're already doing in the hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue with these candy bars across the world. And I say candy bars, I guess I can kind of go into detail shortly. Candy to me means super sweet. So what I want to do first is just kind of run down the ingredients. So if I'm to look at it pretty quickly, ingredient number one is milk chocolate. In brackets, we have sugar, whole milk powder, cocoa butter, unsweetened chocolate, soy lecithin, natural vanilla extract. So typically the way that ingredients work is the first is the highest percentage in your recipe. So number one is sugar. To me, that's pretty crazy when your dominating ingredient is sugar. And this is very, very common in commercial candy bars. It's just the reality of it. Sugar is very cheap. There is a reason why this chocolate bar is as cheap as it is. I feel like it's $2 or something like that. Pretty crazy. Whole milk powder. So milk chocolate obviously does have milk powder, and there are limits to the minimum you can have in terms of milk solids in your chocolate. Next we have cocoa butter. So cocoa butter is actually one of the more expensive ingredients at this point. Cocoa butter in the last year has gone pretty crazy. What was costing around $10 a kilo US is now around 30. So I'd be very curious over time if you see any changes in where cocoa butter lies in their ingredients. Unsweetened chocolate essentially is 100% pure chocolate. This is cacao liquor, as it's called. We call it cacao nibs. It's just the pure cacao mass. Next we have soy lecithin. So soy is one of those, I don't know if contentious is right, but you see it in a lot of recipes because it's very effective at what it does. Soy lecithin helps in two ways. One is emulsifying, so keeping all of the ingredients very well together. Number two is it really increases the fluidity of your chocolate. So it allows you to reduce the amount of cocoa butter that you need in a recipe. Because fluidity is very important from a manufacturer's perspective, because if it's not fluid enough, it's not going to sit into your molds well, and you're going to deal with air pockets, and it's just going to be a bit of a nightmare in terms of processing. So soy lecithin can remove up to 8% of cocoa butter by weight, as it's a crazy cheap replacement for one of the most costly ingredients in a recipe. Soy, not a lot of people like it in chocolate. There are alternatives such as sunflower lecithin, or just investing a little better into the true ingredients in your chocolate bar, which we'll do later. And finally, natural vanilla extract. To me, when I see this in recipes, especially milk chocolate, it kind of means the raw ingredients suck. You are trying to hide flavor or mask likely the defects in your cacao or your raw products. It's another kind of workaround. I get it, MrBeast Feastables. I think what you're doing from a trade perspective, trying to push any type of forced labor, child labor out of the supply chain is amazing, just like all of us chocolate makers on the specialty side have been doing for quite a long time. However, you are using ingredients that kind of cheapen your product even further. Like, there's a big audience out there that just wants some quality ingredients. And I really did think that at first with Feastables, from my understanding, MrBeast tried to approach it from a nutritional perspective as well due to some of his own health issues. But when I see this, it feels like that kind of just went out the window. So I'd be very curious to see what happens. But anyways, nonetheless, let me break this down. I'm going to try a little piece here. I am very curious to see what it tastes like. So today what I'm going to make is the milk chocolate version. He does have a few others. I've actually sacrificed a few, the peanut butter one and the crunch one, for later on in the video. But yeah, milk chocolate for me, yes, sweet, creamy, but it's a good balance of the two. This color looks very almost gray brown, so it's unique in itself. There are some bubbles you can see in the mold itself. So most likely during the processing, what happened was it wasn't vibrated enough to get all the air out, or the recipe itself was a little on the thicker side. Most likely it's just due to processing. But what I find weird about his bars, there's a bendiness to them. Like even with these divots here, like chocolate shouldn't bend. Like, I feel like what that is from is the sugar content in the chocolate. And it was way, way more obvious in his other bars, but in the milk chocolate a little less so, especially with these breaking points. But like chocolate should have a very solid snap to it. That's what you get when sugar is your #1 ingredient. Cool mold. Let me try this and see what's up. Super creamy. Honestly, it reminds me of those like Kinder Eggs. And most likely, it's the same quality as in the Kinder Eggs or any of those other mass-produced world of chocolate. I taste sugar. I don't know what else I'm tasting here, but it's unfortunately cloyingly sweet. But that being said, there is a market for it. I'm not trying to just like be down on this whole Feastables project, but I do feel like there's a lot of room to improve. So what I'm going to do is take this bar, I'm going to create a mold of it, and I'm going to use better ingredients and see what we can do to make a Feastables as a sole chocolate product. Here we go.